Boom. We're good. We're recording.
Man, Zoom is the shit, apparently.
Yeah, Zoom's tight.
Zoom is the way to fucking go. Damn.
All right, so I guess we're live then. Are you recording?
Just started.
Nice. All right, what's up, everybody? We're sitting here today on the podcast. It is me and my brother Adam Neth. So we're just going to get a quick little podcast in. It's been forever that we've been talking about it. Running, I know he just started his podcast. I've been doing mine for a while. But just wanted to get on here and get something rolling. So what's up, Adam?
How's it going, Danny?
Pretty
Thanks
good.
for having me on.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on your show too, probably.
Yeah, this is my second podcast. I did one a couple months ago, but just haven't gotten around to it. But now that we're living the quarantine lifestyle.
Yeah, dude, I know. I'm like using so many different things now. It'll obviously just download Zoom and
yeah, this is way better than doing it any other way.
Yeah. I've been using like Microsoft Teams a lot, like at work, and that's pretty cool too. Just because it's like it's pretty much exactly like this. It's a little bit different maybe, but
yeah,
just making things work in the era of the quarantine.
Yeah, I know. I've had a couple clients that have done FaceTime sessions just using my cell phone, putting it up there and training people at their office or their house. It's
for real
different. Yeah, it's weird.
Like FaceTime sessions then, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'll anchor bands to my door and like take them through some of the workouts and just have them message me beforehand and let me know like what kind of equipment they have. But
right.
It's still just so weird.
I know, it's crazy. Well, plus it's like, we got another month to go probably, or at least I guess. And then, yeah, I don't know, man. But at least you're able to still keep doing stuff. And like, that's the beautiful thing is like, it's forcing people to actually use the internet and like take advantage of everything that you've been given.
Yeah. I was going to say like most people, they like miss their family and stuff and they've been using like, Google Hangouts and Zoom and all these other apps to see their family. And they're like, holy crap, this is so nice. And they never actually take advantage of it, during normalcy.
Right. Yeah. People are like so scared to adopt technology. So it's like kind of nice to see that it's, I don't know, like it's the last resort, but it's like, actually, I think I remember like when you kind of made me realize like the difference that like cell phones and like the internet made, because I think it was probably you were probably in like sixth grade. And you're just like, I don't know, you're just like, dude, you can just look it up on your phone and just figure anything out that you want. And it just like opened my mind because I'm like, holy shit, literally anything you want to do. Like there's no excuse.
And then, if you have questions further that the internet doesn't answer, you can just reach out to people who are on the internet who know all the answers and they're like bound to help you with it.
Right. Exactly.
That's the cool thing.
You got to be careful where to go. Cause I always like, when I'm like desperately trying to find answers, like I was trying to learn how to code. And so I was stumbling on like the stupidest, smallest things, and then realized I didn't even need to go through all those initial steps that I went through. But like I got on like Reddit and tried to ask questions and people fucking rip you on there because they're like, oh, this has already been asked. You're stupid. You're fucking idiot.
Yep.
Reddit
is weird. I didn't realize there was such a community on Reddit that just, it's the forum for questions about, whatever it is, brands or certifications, or it's weird.
It is a weird place too, because like I feel like it's like the most cynical place on the internet.
Yeah, it's
even more so than Twitter. Like Twitter is just for rage, Reddit's for cynicism, Facebook's for rage.
Yeah. It's weird.
Instagram's like curate your life into what you think or
what you want it to look like.
Right.
Yeah.
But anyways, I guess we're just been kind of rambling on here, but just I think maybe the best place to start would be like we can just go into like a little bit of our origin stories. Like obviously, we're brothers, we've known each other for our lifetime, but just to like give people some context, like, so I'm almost 3 years older than Adam, almost to the day. I was born on June 27th. He was born on the 21st. And let's see. So we've been pretty close our whole lives. But Adam, why don't you just like walk through, like, let's see, I'm trying to think, like what you do right now with Lyft and, you know, your job or career or whatever, and then just like walk through maybe like what led you down that path, like through your life,
Yeah.
like origin story.
So I guess really I began training when I was 11, 12 years old, you know, when dad was doing Body for Life. He was doing Body for Life. And, you know, he was probably 35, 36. So seeing that when I was growing up, I remember being 6 years old up to 11 years old, seeing him do that. And, you know, he's regimented with his diet and protein shakes and doing all of that. And then, you know, you started to get into lifting for football and track and all of that. So once I got into high school, that's when I realized like that weight training was more of my thing than the actual sport was.
Yeah.
And then when I got into college is when I got into natural bodybuilding. And then my second year of college is when I got into working with general population. So I started training people who were professors at Wright State, just more general population type people. And then I got involved with adapted recreation. So I worked with people with disabilities, like cerebral palsy and stuff like that. So I took them through workouts at Wright State, which was pretty cool because Wright State's like top 1% when it comes to accessibility for people with disabilities. So they had a bunch of equipment in the gym that, you know, the seats would actually pull up, slide out so that people could use their wheelchair and get in.
Oh yeah, I remember that, like when when I came down to lift and stuff, like, so I'm like, whoa, what's going on with all this?
Yeah, like this, every piece of equipment was like custom made. You know, they're huge pieces so they can fit, you know, wheelchair sizes in there.
That's crazy.
And, so then after working with people with disabilities, I also did strength conditioning. So I was an intern at the Wright State Strength Conditioning Facility. So I got to work with, you know, there was no football there, but they only had a club football team that didn't train there. But they had baseball, basketball, swimming, tennis, track and field, and, you know, a couple other odd sports here and there. But that was really cool.
Was pretty solid when you were there, I think.
Yeah. And their baseball team, they had
a
bunch of people that went to the higher ranks. But
damn.
Then after
what you got there, what you got there?
I have my little hydration drink every morning.
Nice.
I put Propel, electrolytes, filtered water, and squeeze a lemon in there.
Damn. Fancy.
My hydration every morning, along with my coffee, which I just sip kind of throughout the morning and mid-afternoon.
Yeah, nice. So what did you I guess just to cut you off here for a second, what did you like the most, like of what you had done up to that point then?
I like the one-on-one probably the most, but I liked training more of the athletic client versus the general population. And then now that I've gotten more into programming and physique stuff through N1 education, I like to work with people who just have, you know, body composition goals or goals that are similar to mine.
Yeah.
And it keeps things more interesting having programming knowledge that I can take somebody through different phases like metabolic and hypertrophy and strength training. And even though they're different types of programming, it's pretty cool to have somebody who, you know, wants fat loss, but then they can cycle through all these different phases. Yeah. And as a coach, it keeps me entertained as well, because it's not just the same monotonous thing time and time again. And I can get people results quicker that way too.
Right. So what's N1 or N1 education or whatever?
N1 education. So they do training certifications, biomechanics, and programming. And then they have N1 training, which is more just about execution of the movements and stuff like that. The N1 education was the place. I went down into Texas for the practical for 3 days.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, because that was because you had kind of like implemented some of that stuff when I came down and lifted that one time at
Yeah.
Crunch.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was dying.
So like, what's the difference between that and like just like a regular, like, high rep kind of workout that people would typically do? Because I feel like that's what people typically do, like, 3 sets of 10 or 12
Yeah.
and just call it like that,
So essentially what they claim is that if you're, let's just say your goal was to build muscle, then you're going to be in primarily more of the hypertrophy focused programs, and that's contractile muscle tissue hypertrophy. So it'd be like mechanical damage or volume based programs. But then once your body starts to become accustomed to those programs, that's when you switch it to a metabolic stimulus or a neurological stimulus based on what you need to work on, and it's going to further potentiate your ability to gain muscle in the future or improve body composition or whatever your goal might be.
Yeah. So what's the difference between like metabolic and neurologic, I think is what you said?
So just as an easy description, that would be the difference between neurological and metabolic would be metabolic's more like maybe you have 3 exercises and they're back to back to back, and it's maybe 3 sets of 8, 8, and 15 reps with no rest between. So that would be an oxidative stress protocol. And this is a higher glucose uptake, so you need higher carbohydrates when you're doing that. Versus something like a strength training program might be 3 sets of 4 with a 3-minute rest period, whereas the 8, 8, 15 in the metabolic phase was only 60 seconds rest.
Right. So you're saying that like the powerlifting stuff is like the neurological.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I kind of thought.
Fibers per muscle units per fiber or whatever. And it transfers so that you're able to recruit more muscle fibers when you go back to a hypertrophy training program.
And then so what you're saying though is that you're like incorporating like changes to your diet and modifications along with that. So that's pretty far advanced as far as training.
But at the same time, I also have online clients and people that I work with that, they don't want to change their nutrition when they change a training program.
Right.
And some people don't need to change their training program. Maybe they just do it for pure functionality versus like wanting to have the best body composition that they possibly could have. So
yeah. Yep. Good deal.
Then it's also kind of cool for me because it's like I can work some of those things into people's programs who, they don't want to be all that crazy about it, but they can still benefit from, a little bit more of the metabolic based training.
Yeah. Cool. Good deal. So I guess beyond that then, so what are you up to now?
So now that I've been in quarantine for 3.5
years,
almost 3 weeks now, I think.
Really? Has it been that long?
I think so.
I'm like, I have truly lost track.
Let's see. I think it was the 16th. So 1, 2, 3 weeks tomorrow.
Wow.
So what I've been doing recently is trying to get into a routine. It's been kind of difficult,
right,
given the circumstance. But
so what are you doing though? Like, because I guess where we left off, I think, was we didn't get into like where you're working at now and like what's gone on since the coronavirus.
Oh yeah. So right now I work down the street at Sensi 360 Fitness. But like I said, quarantine. So we had to stop training about 3 weeks ago. And
because you guys are like the first ones that even got like kind of cut, right?
Yeah. Restaurants, bars, and gyms. So right now I'm making training programs for people online, just via Google Sheets. And then I explain, the training programs with audio clips. And then I have met a couple of clients down at some parks around Cincinnati and trained them.
Nice.
So I have some bands and like TRX straps, and I just bought some dumbbells that go up to 30, 35 pounds a piece. So that would be nice for those clients that do want to stay in shape. And then doing the virtual sessions as well. So
cool.
Yeah.
Are you, I feel like people are just like nonstop looking for fitness stuff to do because they're just like so bored and they're like, I mean, you can only do so much. You can't go out and walk really or do anything like that. So like
Yeah.
people are trying to
So
just burn up energy. I feel like, are
if
you
you
getting
are
like
one
an
of those,
uptick in people reaching out to you? Kinda.
not really. And I think the
Yeah.
reason is because some of my programming is so specific that,
Yeah. You kind of have
it's
to have the
like
equipment and stuff.
people are kind of just freestyling it right now.
Yeah.
Uh, in accordance to what's like available to them.
Yeah.
But if you are one of those people that are looking for, gym equipment or bands or weights or anything, just check Facebook Marketplace. That's, the
Nice.
quickest and easiest way to do it, in my opinion.
Yep.
So,
Nice. Um, Good deal. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like with what are you doing for your workouts now that like Corona? Are you shut down pretty much or
so luckily for me, I can go into the gym, still train.
nice?
But the last week, just finished a 5-week training program, and I was pretty beat up. So, taking 7 days to actually do workouts outside,
Cool.
and when the weather is actually nice.
Did
But
it rain today down there?
yeah, it's
Dude,
pouring.
it was freaking pouring today.
Yeah. But yesterday we went down. There's this like train station, maybe like half a mile from us.
Hmm.
Went down there and brought my Prime Fitness handles and got a daisy chain. Put it on one side, put a daisy chain on the other side. Did like TRX rows and curls and stuff like that.
Nice.
Just out in the sun, just kind of enjoying it, playing around
Yeah.
for the time being.
So just kind of like a nice deload. I mean, it's almost like yoga, kind of like it sounds like.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then, I did a 5-week training program. It was just like kind of a mix between neuro and volume based. And then this week doing like a deload with slightly metabolic. So I'm getting a little bit more of the cardiovascular aspect,
Hmm.
muscular conditioning.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good deal. Yeah. I was like, I've been kind of like hit or miss on my workouts. Well, like obviously I had like the thing with freaking the plumbing issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sewer backup. So after which it wasn't that bad, like it could have been so much worse, like stories that they were telling me and like that like my boss told me at work about stuff he's had happen. And yeah, dude. But anyways, so after they like cleaned all that, it like took kind of a while for that smell to get out of there. Cause I'm not like gonna go down there when there's like a chemical, a
Yeah.
commercial chemical cleaner, and it's like, it had to be done. But now it's good to go. So I hit some chest the other day, chest, shoulders, chest, shoulders, tries, mainly. No, I hit them all. Yeah. But doing some back and biceps today.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Nice.
I've been doing like you. I've been going outside and like just doing like push-ups and
Yeah. I've seen a bunch of
yoga.
people do like gardening workouts. Like
Oh
they're out in
yeah.
their garden doing workouts. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like you
I,
should do
I
one of those.
yeah, I was thinking about that too. And I'm like, man, freaking by the time now that I got everything done, because it was like enough of a workout just putting everything back together,
Yeah.
what I did was like I ripped my whole garden apart. I have root pouches, so it's like these fabric pots. I had like 250 of them full of soil, and they were wet from all the rain and
Damn.
all the snow. Pulled them all out of the garden, and I walked like 12,000 steps that day. So
Dang.
carrying
With
20
with
to
extra load.
20 to 40
Lot.
pounds the whole time. My freaking traps, like my back was so sore. Like I just came in and like took a shower and just went to sleep like immediately because I was out there for like 6 hours. Because so I pulled them all out, ripped up all the ground cover, dumped everything out, raked everything out, graded it, got it all level, and then tilled it, which took like a freaking hour. And
Oh yeah.
then, dude, it's just so much work and you don't realize it because it's like, oh, it's just a small little space. It's nothing.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah,
what
I thought about like now that so then I laid like weed barrier fabric and all that stuff down, got nice clean rows so I could actually do a workout this year. So I thought about doing that for sure. So I might need your help with that. We could
yeah,
do
that'd be fun.
that'd be cool.
All you got to do is just email me with your equipment that's available. Like, yeah, if you got like a video of your garden or whatever,
Yeah.
send it over, and then that gives me an idea of like, oh, I know what he has available to him. I can make a program based on that. So,
Yeah. Cool.
and that's fun for me because
Yeah, I
it's
kind of thought
a little
about like
thinking
like
outside the box.
yeah. Have you thought about like hosting, or like doing like a live of like your workouts? Because like that's what I was thinking is like, if I did a workout in my garden, I would just like put it on live, or I don't know,
I
record
should.
it. Yeah, record it and then have people join in. If it's something that you could, because then that could always lead to more. People asking more
Yeah.
questions,
I've seen
building
some
more
people
value.
do what they'll do is they'll record a video, like a workout,
Yeah.
and then they'll put their workout up on their live stream, but then they'll have like their face live stream audio casting while
Mm,
the video is playing so that they can like talk about the video.
yeah.
I don't know how to do
That's
that,
cool.
but that would be pretty cool. So then I could record a workout, or you could record a workout and then go
Yeah.
live and then have people ask questions.
Right. So you probably have to do, was it on Facebook?
No, it was on Instagram.
Trying to think how you would do that. Because I thought you could host like a watch party or whatever.
Yeah.
Or he's
There's all
probably doing
kinds of
something like
weird
this. He
things
probably,
now.
I wonder if he did something like this where it's like a Zoom meeting,
Yeah, and maybe it might
Yeah.
be.
Never
But there's
know.
probably all kinds of stuff coming out now with Instagram video and
Right.
because they're trying to adapt to the quarantine lifestyle too.
Quarantine life.
Yeah.
Dude, it's like, I don't know. I guess as long as you've got a job or you can make money, it's cool for sure.
Yeah.
But then it is super, it's not like it's boring, but like you just can't, when you realize you can't go anywhere, then it's like, I feel like definitely other people are like, they're feeling it and they're like, oh, I'm going to go somewhere just because I can't,
Yeah. Yeah.
like there's a big red button on the wall and people just want to push it and like just
Yeah.
to see what happens.
Yep.
which is crazy. Fucking stupid.
Yeah. We've been walking around outside and whatnot, and people are
Yeah.
out there just wearing masks,
Yeah.
walking around with gloves and masks. It's wild.
Yeah. And I guess if you're outside, it's fine. I feel like as long as you're just not like congregating or like going to the store,
Yeah.
I don't know, just taking precautions just in case. But yeah, that's so yeah, I guess that's a good way to adapt to the quarantine life though. Just
Yeah. And then,
work
we've just
out.
been trying to do things that are, creative that you don't just get to do normally. Like we
Yeah.
started drawing, just pencil sketching.
How's that going?
It's going. Yeah. It's pretty
Nice.
cool. I'm about halfway done with it. I'll have to post it up when I'm done.
Yeah, cool. What else are you guys doing besides the drawing?
I've been uploading videos to YouTube. I'm expanding my execution library, which is just,
Nice.
a reference point for clients to be able to look at, oh, how do I do this movement? Or this is a new movement in my program. How am I going to be able to, make sure that they're doing it right?
Yeah.
And they're just quick videos, 30 to 60 seconds, just get the point across. Nothing too in depth, but
Yeah.
doing that and just the virtual sessions and scouring for gym equipment, stuff like that. Yeah.
Scouring for gym equipment. Finding a lot.
I have found 2 pieces that were pretty cool. So I just got the Weider adjustable dumbbells, which would be nice for me to be able to carry that to the park to train people.
So how much weight are you going to be carrying? Or I guess it's not like you're walking there or anything though. You're driving.
I'll drive, yeah, and then just put it in my book bag.
Just see
It's only
farmer walking.
Yeah. It's only 70 pounds, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, that's not bad.
And then I found a Magnum biangular chest press, which is pretty sweet.
Biangular.
Yeah, so it converges, which is the best type of arm path that you want for pec, because you're not just driving across; it also comes across the body and then still loads the chest there.
I miss those old machines they had at the Sydney High School. You remember that chest press?
We had
that low decline press.
Hammer strength decline.
Yeah, that was the best one.
Hammer strength incline, and I think the decline was like I think they're both isolateral.
Yeah, I loved the incline actually because it was super close, so it hit your inner
Yeah.
chest.
They had
Yeah,
the neutral grip handles you could press up and in. Yeah.
yeah, because it like gripped here, here, and here. I think.
The guy that I bought the dumbbell rack for you is he was in Middletown, and he
Mm,
had a whole basement gym full of shit like that. He
wow,
had a hammer strength incline press over in the corner. It's
nice.
pretty cool. Yeah.
Man, yeah, those are sweet. Even like the T row machines, like those were so simple, but those were like like my one of
Oh,
my
the
favorite.
chest supported T-bar row.
Yep,
Yeah, yeah, we had tons of those
dude.
at
Yeah, the more I
Sydney
think about
High.
it, Sydney High like had like we had like some really good equipment, and then they
Yeah,
even redid it again
yeah.
and even better. So I don't know, it's crazy.
They had all hammer strength, everything. Everything was hammer strength. Yeah,
Just dumped that money in there. I guess I don't know.
yeah. They had a
Boosters.
lot of
Now that I think
stuff
about
when you really
like, 'cause
think
you
about
just
it.
like take it for granted because it's just like, oh, that's what it is, you know?
You didn't have any idea either in high school.
Yeah. Because even when we went to Capitol, it was like, what the hell is
Yeah,
this? Like,
Capital was a horrible weight
I had to,
room.
I had to freaking petition to get new dumbbells, basically.
Yeah,
It's
the
like, okay, this thing
75s
is
were
going.
we do like shoulder presses with 75s, and like the dumbbell head was like wobbling, ready to come off because it's
Yeah.
like unwelded. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that was the most unsafe. I forgot about how bad it was in the beginning because they
Yeah.
did buy more stuff like my senior year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They redid it like when we left.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty
But
much. That's the way it goes.
yeah. Same thing with Sydney.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Yep.
But
But yeah, I think today I think I'm gonna start off. I'm trying to think what I'm like. I feel like my back is just so massive in comparison to my chest that it feels weird when I lift my back because I'm just like, do I even need to pump? Like I feel like lopsided a little bit, you know?
yeah, because you do so much like carrying
Yeah.
stuff in the garden that your back's like, plus you have like genetically bigger traps
Yeah.
than most
Like,
people. So
yeah, it's just like,
yeah, yeah. Like dad is a prime example. He's
yeah.
like turtle shell back.
So what should I do to hit my lats since I don't have like a pull down? What's the best thing that I could do?
Do you have bands?
Um, like what kind of bands?
Like like any type of resistance band that would be like appropriate to do like pull downs or
So I've got
rows.
those monster bands.
How heavy?
I've got the purple one. I've got the white one. I can't remember what they are. 50 pounds maybe.
Yeah, that'd probably be good if you could find like an attachment point in your basement, like
Yeah.
higher up,
And just do single arm.
and you could do single arm, or if you have like
Yeah.
you could put I don't know broom or something sturdy that's like this.
Broom. I could just see it.
You could you could do pull downs like that.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
but just make sure like when you're doing it that you are like angling your lat to bias those muscle fibers.
What do you mean?
Uh, so like if you do a pull down and you're more like a traditional lat pull down, what we think of, when
Yeah.
you're pulling down like overhead and you're pulling down toward the upper chest,
Yep.
it's all scapula movement. So you're training upper back, whereas the lat pulls your humerus, the upper arm bone, down to the side.
Yeah.
So when you see somebody doing this, their elbows flared. So that's all upper back movement.
Mm.
And then, of course, elbow flexors and other things are assisting. But for lat, down here is going to be more, more biased toward the lat.
So you're just saying lean back basically.
Yeah. And then have the intent with the upper arm bone, the humerus, of depressing it. So you're reaching, you're
Humerus,
depressing
depressing the humerus.
Yeah. That's the cue you'll hear a lot.
That's like an oxymoron.
Yeah. Depress the
Depressed humerus.
and then drive your elbow down and back, and that's going to bias lat versus upper back movements. You want to not depress. You want to actually create some tension in your upper back and then move the arms first and then retract. Because when you retract first, you're creating a bunch of unnecessary tension in the rotator cuffs.
Yeah.
But that could
Well,
be
that
a
makes a
topic
whole
for
lot of
another
sense
time.
now, because I feel like I leaned back when I did, like, I was thinking about Honda too. Like when I would do the lat pull downs there, like I probably was going a lot more upper back, but
Yeah.
then as you go, you almost naturally lean back more.
Yeah.
And I find that if I go, well, underhand, obviously you're going to be working more lats because you're pulling it down in. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, because it almost feels more like maybe even like just like a grip like this.
Yep. And that's funny that you did that, because those Prime Fitness handles I have
Oh,
allow that,
I like gripping like that too,
they're
because it's almost like
adjustable.
climbing
Yeah.
grips,
Yeah.
pretty ergonomic.
But they're adjustable. So like
Ergonomically correct.
so they're adjustable. So if you have a big person, like let's just say dad, for example, is doing a lat pull down, his arm path might be a little bit more out here.
Yeah.
Whereas somebody like, 150-pound guy might be way in here.
Yeah.
That's just because of all that extra muscle tissue that has to wrap around now. So
Yeah. Interesting. So is there something what do I need to get bigger lats to fill them out? Because I feel like I have like I have it, but it feels like very, it's not full,
So there's three divisions of your lat.
All right.
We're getting into it now.
Yeah.
You have a thoracic division, you have the lumbar division, and an iliac division. So
damn, so it goes all the way down to your hips?
Yeah. It stabilizes your spine significantly during movements. So during the audio portion,
here we go.
During the audio portion, if you guys are curious to see the lat fibers, you can hop over to the YouTube video as well. So if we just look at a lat, let's just say this is the left lat.
Okay.
All right, it's kind of in this fan shape, right?
Yeah.
So the humerus would be here and going down. So looking at the different divisions, you can see these run more horizontally. This was the thoracic division.
So can you draw the rest of the body?
Probably not.
I mean, just to show like where it actually connects on the hips and stuff, or like where that bottom.
Well, just to get the point across, that if you're doing more of like a rowing motion like this,
yeah,
then you're going to bias those fibers, because that's the resistance is in the line of those fibers.
Yep.
So that would be like the thoracic division. And then once you start to go up, the higher you go up relative to your active range of motion is going to start biasing some of these lower divisions.
Okay.
So to answer your question, it would be the best thing for you to do would be, start with the bulk of the tissue. So maybe start with the thoracic division,
which is the highest,
which is the most superior, the highest one, which would be more of the rowing motions.
Yeah.
And then develop like a really good mind to muscle connection when it comes to the iliac lumbar fibers, because a lot of people have a hard time with engaging those muscles
because they want to throw the back and other stuff into it.
And elbow positioning is huge, because people will start to use their bicep and elbow flexors to bring the weight down as opposed to driving down with their actual lat tissue.
So sorry. So how do you work the lower ones then? Or here's a better question. So I feel like I have a decent amount of muscle, but it's like the front of the lat that doesn't feel completely full. Is that the lat, or is it like obliques? Like I feel like I have just a little wing.
Yeah. I feel like most people, because they don't know how to engage their lumbar and iliac lat fibers, they hypertrophy the thoracic fibers so much that they overdevelop this this muscle tissue right here, kind of underneath the armpit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then what you're going to feel in the front of your lat is going to be your serratus
Is that how you,
anterior.
yeah. And those are just like the fibers that go along like your ribs, kind of.
Yeah. Yep. And they attach to your shoulder blade. And when your shoulder blades wrap around and protract toward the front of your body,
Yeah.
the serratus pull those forward.
Gotcha. But those aren't involved in like the big bulk of that wing, are they?
No, they'll just when you do stretch your lat out and when you're in the lengthened position, the shoulder blades are going to protract some, and the serratus anterior will be responsible for that, and they'll be controlling scapula stability at that point.
Okay, so here's
along with other things like triceps and whatnot.
Here's a better question then maybe is like, because I feel actually now that I feel it and I can feel myself flexing, I can feel my lats all the way down into my back,
Yep.
right? So is it maybe that I just don't know how to flex it properly? Is it maybe
just not having the right setup, right? Yeah. Because your muscle fibers pull in the direction in which they run.
Yeah.
So if your lats run this way, then the resistance needs to be this way. Now, the lumbar and the iliac divisions are lower like this. So you need to have that resistance here.
So pulling basically.
Yep. So your torso, and we were talking about the example with the lat pull down. If you're back like this and you pull down, you're not going to get a fully lengthened lat, because when you come up, you're coming up this way. Whereas if you were leaning more in and the resistance was here, so you could be laying on a bench or half kneeling with your torso leaning into the resistance, and then that's going to line up better with those lower lat fibers.
So basically there's no way to really work it without doing pull downs.
Yeah.
You just have to super modify some.
I mean, you could like really like a mind muscle bias it some, but you're not going to get the best out of it because it's not doing like line up with the resistance of the fibers.
Right. So if I'm would that be like doing lawnmower pulls on a bench versus like leaning on my knee versus, I mean, are those angles are going to be enough to work it, or is that still just going to be more upper back?
If you're doing a dumbbell row, you can either bias your upper back or your lat.
What about turning the dumbbell?
So if you turn it and your palm is facing down relative to your body, and most of the time people have this tendency to drive their elbow out. So that's going to be, once again, scapula movement, so more upper back. Whereas when people have a neutral grip, they tend to drive the elbow down and back, and that uses more of that thoracic division of the lat.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Cool.
And then in regards to, your hand position on the bench or your hand position on your knee or whatever, the more points of contact that you have with the bench or any support, the more stable it's going to be and the more output that you're going to directly have on the muscle tissue. So if you think about having a bench and stabilizing on a bench and doing a dumbbell row versus not stabilizing on the bench and doing it in like a runner's lunging position, the weight that you'll use would be significantly lower on the lunging position because you have all this extra stability. And it might not be your lat that fatigues, it might be the stabilizers. So from a body composition perspective, it'd be better to do it, with more support.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. That's what I've been doing more of anyways, because I used to do dumbbell rows leaning on my knee, and it was just like so unstable.
Yeah, it's real awkward.
It's like there's no point to doing that really.
Yeah.
So, all right. So one last question on lats and back and stuff. If I was going to do dumbbell overhead rows, would you do that on chest day or a back day?
So the overhead, the
like laying on
pull
a bench.
Over, yeah. The pull over is going to work a lot of lengthened lat. You're stretching all that muscle tissue, and that'll get into some of those lower fibers for you.
Oh, okay.
Because the resistance is away.
Yeah. I've always been hesitant on doing it because Sometimes
And
you can just
then,
get out of position with it or something.
yeah. And it's really hard also because it incorporates your costal pecs. So you have 3 divisions to your pec as well.
What's
Yeah, it's
hostile?
the costal division is the lower fibers.
Oh,
So
yeah.
if you think about those lower
I
fibers
thought it
run
hit.
up this way,
Yeah.
right? So they're running that way. So
Oh,
think about bottom of your sternum for those of you listening to the audio, bottom of your sternum up to pretty much your armpit
yep.
where the muscle fibers attach. Uh, those are going to be lengthening and stretching when you're going overhead.
Yeah.
So if you're doing a pull over, you're stretching the lat, you're stretching the costal pec, and then triceps are stabilizing, and etc.
Yeah. So if it works your pec, would it be like bad if you did it like if you did it you did a chest day on Monday, you're doing back on Tuesday or Wednesday, is that going to affect you at all?
It can, especially depending on what exercises you choose to do for chest on Monday. So
Yeah.
if I was doing a dumbbell pullover on Tuesday, on Monday I had chest, I would probably bias most of my pressing vertical. So I'd do like clavicular pec, which is like upper chest, and
Yep.
maybe I'd do some sternal pec.
Okay.
If I did sternal pec, then I'd probably bias more of a short position so that the next day on Tuesday, depending on what training phase I'm in, but just as a general idea, then you can bias a lengthened costal pec
Yeah.
and the next day without it having too much effect because you're not going to be doing a bunch of lengthened sternal pec on Monday, which will affect your performance on costal pec on Tuesday.
Gotcha. So it doesn't have anything to do with like soreness. It's basically what muscles you're actually working. It's like,
I mean, soreness
yeah,
can be a good indicator, but I think you have to realize that if you start a new training program or you start doing new movements, it's a novel or new stimulus to you. So you're going to be a little bit more apt to getting
yeah.
sore.
So, yeah, because I always think about that too. And I'm just like, I remember there was days like when we ran track where I was so sore the next day where I'm just like, how the hell am I even supposed to run my warm-up lap?
Yeah. Yep. And then it's like, when you do a workout, it's not just about killing yourself and making yourself sore. It's
Yeah.
about stimulating whatever it is that you want to stimulate and then allowing recovery
Yeah.
rather than annihilating. And then recovery is twice as long.
Right. Yeah.
Or you decide to work out again when you're still sore. And then,
Slippery slope.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I've figured that out too. I don't know if it's like, I think that when you work out on your own and when you're doing less weight and more like focus on function and stuff like that, like for me anyways, um, like there's a different intensity when you're working out by yourself too, I think.
Yeah.
But like I've gone more from being like, okay, I don't really care if I can do, you know, two, squat 275 for 10 reps. Like I don't really care.
Right.
Like I'm probably going to get the same thing out of like 225 or 245 and like just be more, I don't know, just not like trying to be like soften it up, but just like focusing on the pure function and pure form because
Yeah.
like so often that you worry about like, oh, I need to get 10 reps, that you do 8 good reps and then 2 shitty reps.
Yep.
So I've just like really started to focus more on like function, form, and feeling.
Yeah. And then it's, people who constantly try and like overload like that,
Yeah.
they end up doing exactly what you said. And usually they're training like over their recovery threshold.
Yeah.
So it is just a slippery slope.
Yeah. Yeah. Because yeah, you can feel it too. Like when I would do it, I would just overdo it, and then I would just be like, all right, I just need to take a week break,
Yeah.
or you
And
you
that's
can like just
why
feel that tension like in your chest and neck and stuff, and
for myself, I really like to train, 4 or 5 times a week rather than 5 or 6 times a week because
yeah,
that way my performance is, still pretty high
yeah,
as I'm allowing myself to recover. And then also using stuff like RPE, the rate of perceived exertion, so that like
yeah,
when you start a new training program, you're not going to failure on the first week.
Yeah.
Because then how are you going to improve from that?
Yeah. True.
But that
Cool.
that definitely helps. And for people in the intermediate advanced stages, the rate of perceived exertion is definitely a valuable tool.
So how do you determine that? Like, what does that even mean?
So rate of perceived exertion would be how hard or how much effort you have to put into things.
Yeah.
So, like in the powerlifting community, they say stuff like, and the bodybuilding community, they say, if you're at an RPE of 8 based on a scale of 1 to 10, if you had an RPE of 8, that means you could have done 2 more reps.
Oh, okay.
If you're at an RPE of 9, you could have done 1 more rep. If you're at an RPE of 10, you probably couldn't have done any other good reps, quality form and all that.
Right.
It can be used in conjunction with RIR, which is reps in reserve. It's just a flip.
Oh, okay.
So 2 reps in reserve is the same thing as an RPE of 8.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah.
Good deal. Shit, I can't remember what I was gonna say now. I had something in.
But yeah, for RPE, I follow people like Mike Israetel and people who are proponents of using the RPE scale to drive hypertrophy, and Brad Schoenfeld's another one. But they talk about up to, if you leave 4 reps in reserve, you're still training hard,
Yeah.
but it's like feels sub maximal. So
Yeah.
they've seen research to show that if you start a training program at 4 reps in reserve, you do gain muscle tissue.
Hmm.
So why not take advantage of that and then go to 3, 2,
Yeah.
1? And that's just like Renaissance periodization's general template when it comes to hypertrophy. Being an N1, things are a little bit different when it comes to hypertrophy and stimulus, and it's more direct stimulus.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I feel like I don't use that specifically, but I kind of like do it intuitively maybe.
yeah.
But do you, yeah, I mean there's so many different paths you could go down with that, but so what are you doing there, or is this week your still your like park workouts and outside workouts and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about that. Uh, typical deloads, you could have deloads from a training program, and that deload could just be going from a strength-based program to a metabolic program for a week.
Mm.
And then you go back into whatever it is that your next program is going to be. And that deloads you from the stress that you were just going through with neurological training.
Yep.
Versus sometimes you might need to deload and actually deload and use recovery as like the main stimulus for you.
Gotcha.
So just think about like different pathways of hypertrophy, and then think about like, if you constantly run the same pathway, you're not going to get the same results time and time again.
Right.
Eventually it's like, okay, you've exhausted that pathway. Now it's time to deload that pathway, do something different
Yeah.
for a short period of time, resensitize, and then, go into whatever it is that's planned for your next phase.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, because it's like that is kind of funny because it's like I feel like in just in life in general, people always go for like the path of least resistance. And then like if you fall into that, you can't fall into that with lifting. Like you literally have to find the hardest path sometimes. Like or have to reinvent the wheel a little bit to trigger different muscles or different responses in your body almost.
Yeah. And that's the stuff that I'm getting into now. It's makes it pretty fun.
Yeah, that's cool. I feel like does it take like a lot of tracking? I mean, kind of like once you get to that point of like looking at this kind of stuff though. I mean,
yeah. And then, since I'm, relatively new to this stuff, what I'm going to end up doing is running I've got, 4 programs in my mind that I'm going to be doing. It's going to be metabolic, hypertrophy, metabolic, strength. See how that goes. And then, if I have pretty good results with that. And then of course, these are calculated, thought out plans so that I can continue my goals of gaining muscle.
Yeah. So what's the difference between metabolic and hypertrophy?
Metabolic's more cardiovascular demanding, glucose demanding, and it's quicker paced. So think of something like 8-8-15. That's they call it more sarcoplasmic hypertrophy,
Hmm.
which is the sarcomeres, the fluid in the muscle, that's expanding. That's not as long term as something like regular hypertrophy programs, because regular hypertrophy programs hypertrophy the contractile muscle tissue, which tends to stick around longer, and it's functional. So contractile muscle tissue can get stronger, whereas sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, you can't get stronger with that.
Hmm.
It's just growing the fluid essentially in the muscle.
So what's the purpose of that?
You get all kinds of benefits like mitochondrial adaptations. Your liver gets better at processing the lactic acid. Myonuclear domains increase, which I'm not too familiar with yet. But you can see how some of these things, like increased mitochondrial adaptations, can potentiate further hypertrophy programs in the future.
Yeah. So
they're
so when
kind
you
of like
say
building
8,
on
8,
each other.
yeah. So when you say 8, 8, 15, what is like if you were doing that for bench, would that be like 8 reps, 60-second rest, 8 reps, 60-second rest, 15 reps with the same weight?
So a typical protocol for 8-8-15 is oxidative stress, and that's metabolic. So
Yeah.
to think about metabolic, each movement can be biased more toward metabolic, or it could be not as metabolic. So something like a fly is more metabolic, and that's a cable fly, versus something like a dumbbell fly. Why is that? Because the cable fly emphasizes the resistance in the short position of the muscle where you're squeezing. Whereas a dumbbell fly, you do a dumbbell fly and the resistance is the heaviest at the end range, the lengthened position. So when you're stretching a muscle under load, you're creating more damage, more mechanical damage. It's tearing more muscle fibers, creating more inflammation, versus squeezing the muscle like in a cable fly. There's not as much damage being created. There's more lactic product.
Gotcha.
More lactic acid, more metabolites, where those lactic acid and everything has to kind of shuttle to the liver. The liver has to process it. If the liver can't handle it, that's when people throw up.
For real?
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy.
Because that lactic acid that your liver's processing, if it can't process it, it'll shuttle all that lactic acid into your GI tract. Yeah. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah,
oh my
this is all that stuff
god,
that
I hate mail on Apple.
Why?
It just keeps popping up into my screen, like half screening me. You know what I'm talking? Oh my god, I'm about to blow up.
The little eagle thing at the bottom.
Yeah, but it keeps popping up half screen on me and like pushing my Zoom call over so it's half screen. Anyways, they did it like 7 times, so I might have to edit that portion out.
Yeah, that's cool.
Sorry. But interesting. Okay, so yeah, there's a lot more to it than I thought, but
yeah,
I guess I don't have all of those capabilities for that stuff. So can you even do that kind of stuff if you don't have all I have is like dumbbells, so I can just do like dumbbell flies and presses and
yeah, but you could also invest in $20, $30, $40 bands.
Oh, and just use that.
So I've seen stuff like I've seen people who have done dumbbell flies, but then they attach like red bands to the dumbbells on opposite sides. So when they go out, the band deloads. So they get this lengthened position for the muscle with the dumbbells. But then when they come in, the bands stretch, and then they get more of that short position.
Nice.
So bands are a good option for.
So you can, you just don't know necessarily like the true weight, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah, but if
like
you keep it consistent,
yeah, that's true. Cool.
Yeah. So
it's crazy.
Stay tuned, everybody. Maybe we'll get some bands and have you do like a metabolic program in the basement, or get a
Yeah.
program going for you for long term.
Yeah, I think we should. That'd be cool.
It'd be fun.
Yeah, I think today, I don't know. Today I'm just gonna hammer out some back and biceps. Probably just go high reps and
Yeah.
not very scientific.
Yeah. But sometimes, I mean, that's not, you don't have to do
Yeah.
crazy programs. It's not entirely necessary, but if you want to make, best use of your time,
Most optimal,
most optimal,
optimized or
yeah.
whatever. Yeah, exactly.
And like for me, it's taken me a while to understand all this stuff, but it also keeps things very interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
If you've done a program and you've ran it for 7-8 weeks, it's like,
Yeah.
change of pace.
Dude, plus I feel like everybody always thinks that, oh, once you get to a certain level, then you have things figured out, like whether it's bodybuilding, weightlifting, or gardening or whatever. People think that it's like, okay, this is how it's supposed to be forever. And it's like, that's not the case. You never know everything.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
there's always something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just keeping an open mind is the biggest thing when it comes to this. I mean,
yeah, there's a lot of
there's
bullshit
just so much research out there now, and there's so many people who are saying conflicting things, but
yeah,
you have to just have an open mind and try things out and learn as much as you can when you're doing it, and then that makes you a better coach too, because then you can speak to people on different levels or whatever level they happen to be at.
Right. Yeah. Plus, not everyone wants to do things a certain way or, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's good to know that there are like actual options that'll work out.
Yeah.
Good deal. Well, dude, I think we are getting pretty good. That was a pretty good little session there. I feel like we got
it was
a lot of knowledge packed in there. Like, but yeah, I think, do you have any like final thoughts before we dip out of here?
If you guys do need any help with programming, just hit me up. You guys can find me on Instagram at Adam Neth. You can find me on YouTube. Just type in Adam Neth. And my email address is adamnethfitnesscoaching@gmail.com. Feel free to reach out with any questions.
Damn, sun's coming out over there.
Yeah, it's not looking too bad.
It just went.
Yeah, it's still like kind of peeking through a cloud, but
yeah,
it'll be nice when we get more sunshine.
Sorry to interrupt you, but yeah, we can link everything up in the description, and
then if you guys have questions, just like drop the question below.
Yep.
And we would be happy to do another podcast because we got all the time in the world.
Yeah. I think it'd be cool to kind of do this kind of thing on like a live stream too.
Yeah.
Like how we did on Instagram the other day. That was kind of fun. Like
if we could get this on Instagram, if anybody knows how to do that, let us know.
Well, I mean, we could just do it live, and then I could invite.
Oh yeah, you could share it to me, right?
Yeah. Or you could do it and invite me in since you have more people.
Yeah, we could do it that way.
Because I did my first live the other day, and I think I got like 5 or like, I don't know, 15 people.
Nice.
Or something.
I've never done a live, so
we'll see. Cool. Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, we'll definitely follow up with that. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, you can always feel free to call in to the stations if you're listening on Anchor. Drop us a comment here or on any of our social channels. What's your handle? At Adam Neth?
Yep.
And I'm at gardening 4 gains. And yeah, thanks for listening in or watching, everybody. And yeah, well, I'm sure we'll see more of you later on, Adam.
Yeah, definitely. Sounds good.
Quarantine life.
That's right.
All right, dude. Yeah, me too.
All right.
We'll see you later. Peace. Thanks for listening, everybody.